This is Sharon Pistilli, and it is Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. We have been having technical difficulties with WebEx, so therefore this is the RTM Senior and Disabled Tax Relief Subcommittee that we're recording via conference call, and I apologize for the WebEx not being available. Right now it is 7:35, and I'm calling the meeting to order. We're going to start reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. So the first item on the agenda is we're just going to make small amendments to the meeting calendar for 2024. We've adjusted the time from 7 to 7:30, and at the time that we set the calendar, we didn't have the location. But the location going forward is going to be the second floor conference room at Sullivan Independence Hall, which is at 725 Old Post Road. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, by Chris, seconded by Dave. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Sharon?
Yes.
I'd like to make an amendment. The April 17th, maybe it doesn't affect the rest of us, but that is the school vacation week.
Oh, got it. So should we push that out a week? I'm going to be gone the week before that.
If everybody could make it the 24th, that'd be okay with me.
Okay, cool. Are you good with that?
24th?
April 24th.
Okay. That's a good day.
Okay, cool. All right, so Mark, do you want to make a motion to amend?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to amend the April 17th date to April 24th.
Oh, there's an RTM meeting the same night. What time?
I have it at 7, but I mean, I'm not.
Isn't it on
I just have a standing committee and then an RTM. I mean, this would be put in schedule a million years.
I think it's a budget vote.
That's a budget review so that night, so maybe the 23rd.
Can we meet before? There's a committee meeting the night before.
Yeah. My daughter has seen that.
So how about we can either do the 25th or we could skip April because we're not going to be able to get started on some of the things that we want to do until the budget's passed anyway, right? So.
No.
If you make substantive changes, it needs to be in place before I start taking applications February 1st. So what happens is this tends to back up. And, we have a summer break and then everyone comes back. And by the time it gets rolling, all of a sudden it's January and they're trying to pass, changes. These changes we can handle because they're not going to change what we're doing.
What about, so I'm going to be gone like the week of the 7th. What if we just have a meeting like 2 weeks after the March 20th meeting?
That's actually smart.
What date is that? Because that's before budget. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It is the 3rd.
I don't have it in front of me. I think we have 2 budget review meetings the first week in April, don't we?
Yeah, so it'd be April 3rd. Does that work? Is that cool for you?
Yeah, Wednesday the 3rd of April.
Good with you, Dave? Okay. Mark, you want to modify your amendment? You want to modify your amendment?
I'm just checking my calendar, sorry. April. Third. Yes, So I'd like to make the amendment changing that meeting date from April 17th to April 3rd.
April 3rd, right?
April 3rd.
Okay. Do I have a second? Dave, is there any discussion? All those in favor of the amendment of moving the April 17th date to April 3rd, I'll signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Now we're going to go back to the calendar as amended. We've already had a motion to approve and a second, and we've had discussion. I'm just going to bring it back to the body. Is there any other discussion?
Yeah, no, sorry, Sharon. If we have work to do, I know in the past committee, we met in the summer if we had work to do. Just because the RTM may or may not meet, I mean, there's no meeting scheduled. I don't think we necessarily don't have to meet just because of that. I mean, I think we should schedule meetings, and if we don't have any work, then we cancel them.
Okay, but the other thing we could do is, because everybody's schedules are going to be a little crazy because nobody knows when they're going to be going away, we can always notice them as special meetings, right?
Yeah, but it's easier to cancel it than personally. I mean, I don't know what people's schedules are in June and July, or July, what is it, July, August? I forget, but I'm not looking at it right now.
Yeah, July.
I mean, we always had the calendar for the full year, and if we didn't have any work that we were going to do, then we would cancel the meeting, which is easier than doing a special meeting. Because then you have to notice it. And that's just my opinion.
What would you guys rather do? Would you rather agree on dates and notice them, or would you rather put dates on the calendar now?
It makes sense to put it on the calendar. We could always change it in special notices, right? So we could always do that.
Can we Zoom this? I mean,
What?
Can we just all virtually do this?
No, it has to be noticed.
It has to be noticed, and then it has to be in person.
It doesn't necessarily have to be in person,
No.
but it does have to be noticed.
I'm just,
Really, during the summer, it might be fun.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could
We could do like a Zoom
queue
meeting
this up and
in person, probably.
do this from wherever we are.
Yeah, I mean, they can be virtual meetings.
Okay, so then that means we will add, so the third Wednesday is July 17th.
Yeah.
And then the third Wednesday in August is, yeah. Okay, Mark, do you want to make a motion to it?
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that we schedule meetings for, did you say July?
It's July 17th.
It's July 24th, actually, isn't it? Wait. Yeah, it's July 24th. Correct. July 17th and August 21st.
Okay. Is there a second? Dave? Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, item passes unanimously. Okay, so we're going to go back to the vote on the amended calendar. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the calendar as amended, and just to be clear for the public, the amendments are the April 17th meeting is now going to be April 3rd at 7:30 p.m. We've added July 17th, and we've added August 21st.
Also at 7:30 p.m.
Also at 7:30 p.m. The July 17th meeting and the August 21st meeting are going to be virtual. The rest of the meetings are all going to be on the second floor conference room at Sullivan Independence Hall.
Okay. So we're good?
Great.
Okay. Great. Okay, and then the next item of business, wait, we all voted, right?
We got to vote.
Yeah, we did. What?
We didn't vote, did we?
Okay.
On the amendment?
I lost track. Okay, so item 3 is to consider and act upon the minutes of the January 22nd meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll make a motion.
Chris? Seconded by Mark.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Item passes. Thanks. Item passes unanimously. And the next item of business is to consider and act upon changes to the senior and disabled tax relief ordinance. And we have Ross Murray with us to explain the changes.
Very good, thank you. So these are a couple of clerical changes and just some defining of some of the things that we do. There's nothing material changing in how we actually administer the program. So I'll walk you through them. The first change is a grammatical change to section 9515B3, and it reads, on the next prior day. So we're just going to strike the word prior, so it's the next day. And this refers to when the rate is set for the deferral program. And the second change to that same section is to define when the rate is set. And my suggestion was the opening of that day, the opening price. Since it fluctuates all day, we realized this year that, when do you actually pick that rate? So my suggestion was opening price. Second one is also a grammatical change to section 95.8C8, and we're just changing the word application to applicant. So any applicant, spouse who qualify. And a second change in that paragraph is to the date that the qualifying total asset value is determined. Right now it says on the application date, so that's a floating date, so it can be different for all applicants. My suggestion is to define that as of December 31st of the year prior, which is when we look at income the prior year.
Yeah, aligned with their
So we're
tax
aligning
return.
with that. And, everybody will have year-end statements that they can use to determine their asset value. Third item is to section 95.9, section B. We're just going to strike and a copy of the applicant. I'm going to paraphrase. And a copy of the application shall be delivered to the applicant. It doesn't serve any purpose to give them a copy because we cannot determine what their benefit is until the mill rate is set. Because part of the calculation is to determine what they get is a percentage of the tax. So until the mill rate's set, we don't know what it's going to be. It's also printed on their tax bill when they get it. So they get that information with their tax bill. The fourth item is to section 95.8C1, and this is to change the age that a surviving spouse has to be in order to be eligible to maintain the benefits. Currently it's at 60. The state program is at 50, so my suggestion is to combine that with the state program and make it 50. We currently have no one that this would affect. We have no surviving spouses on the program, on the state program, that are between 50 and 60. So it's just in case. And that's actually the last change because the Board of Finance did not pass
The last one, right?
the changes to the language for qualifying income.
Okay. Okay. So I think one of the things when I reviewed this, and Dave, I know it's something that you and I had talked about. So the changes are indicated on the tax bill. So like, here's the scenario where you have someone who really is like disabled, like not able to handle their own business in a consistent way. So on the one hand, it would make sense to notify them by mail so that if we're looking at this business, we know what's going on. But what you're saying makes sense because the information is not going to get up to date until the mill rate's set anyway. So it's going to be clear on the tax bill, like
It says, I think it says elderly benefit. It's abbreviated right on the bill.
okay. So did you have any concerns about that?
Yeah, I'll just say, this has not been an issue over the years that I've been here.
Okay.
It's not like people are calling and, if they call, we can give it to them. I mean, that's it. But we don't get a tremendous number of calls. Hasn't been an issue.
Okay.
So back to you.
They haven't received a bill yet, right?
People do call and say, where's my benefit? And, we tell them it's printed on the bill, or then we'll just tell them what it is. We'll explain how,
Right, but they haven't seen the benefit yet because they haven't received the bill yet. Is that right?
Right. Well, what's the mill rate is set in May. Mm-hmm. So, and we take applications through May 15th, from February 1st to May 15th. So a large number of the people that apply, we couldn't give it to them until after the mill rate set anyway. So
does a notice go out just saying that it's been approved and that once that mill rate is set, they'll see that on there?
They know they're approved when they leave.
Okay.
So when we take the application, we enter the application right in the system. We don't do a paper handwritten out. So we take their tax return and their backup documents, go to our software, enter it, and then they're qualified right there. They'll know when they walk out that they're approved. But again, we don't know what the benefit exactly is going to be. We can tell them what tier they're in. Okay. Your maximum benefit's going to be this, or it's going to be 67% of the bill, but we don't know the exact amount.
And Sharon, you're saying it would be nice for them to have something in writing for someone who's overseeing their documentation or their finances or preparation.
Yeah, but since it's printed on the tax bill,
not needed.
Yeah, and the issue that Ross brought up that I didn't think of was that until you know what the mill rate is, you don't know what the benefit is because you don't know what the math is going to be.
The multiplier that you don't have.
Yeah.
Right, so let me ask you a question, backing into it a different way. So what if we were not to strike the language that said, and a copy therefore shall be delivered to the applicant? What would that force you to do?
We give them a copy of their application that has their income on it and no benefit amount.
Okay. Yeah. That's how I wanted to back
it.
It's just I wanted that answer back just to make sure I was in. Okay. So it does make sense to strike it. Because why go through the hoop to
it doesn't really.
Yeah. So this just tightens it up.
It doesn't produce a result.
It doesn't produce a result that you would think, oh, wait, we want notification, but you're really not notifying of anything. So, yeah. So this makes it tighter and simpler and less paperwork and less silly. Because then you create more questions that you would just send them.
If we were to mail it to them, we would be inundated with phone calls as to what is this? Right. Do I have to apply? We get that constantly. Right. Do I have to apply this year? Mm-hmm. Did you get a notice? We send you a notice. No. Okay, let me check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question on something else. So.
No, go ahead because I'm the chair. I'll go last.
Oh, okay.
As a courtesy, go ahead.
Just for clarification, do they don't apply every year? Is it once they've applied and then that carries over?
The program is you apply every 2 years.
Okay.
So it carries over, except for the deferral, which they do need to apply every year.
Okay, so point of order here. So do we want to, we're talking about the suggested changes, right? So if that suggested change, I guess.
Got it.
Me with my question?
Yeah.
Oh, so it carries over to the suggested change. In terms of if my clarification and confirming or clarifying that point was if they needed to reapply, if they were to get remarried at, say, 52,
You can-
with that language.
You're only required to apply every 2 years. If your income changes up or down, you're supposed to come in.
Regardless of that 2-year interval.
Right.
Gotcha.
In regards to the amount of income change? Because that's.
Cost of living is not, I mean, the system's designed so that cost of living doesn't change your benefits. So no, cost of living. But if you go back to work, you should come in and reapply. I mean, does that happen? No. But we have a lot of people come in that say, oh, I just retired. Okay, you're going to need to apply and then come back next year because it's going to change. And it could be that they need to come, if they just retired in February or March, they may have to come back
in 2 years once the income goes away.
Yeah, so we tell them, we coach them that, to come back in if it looks like there's income's going to be different.
I feel like there could be more changes in that 10-year window, 50 to 60, than there would be in later years.
Yeah.
But, that makes sense.
No, I agree with you.
You're reapplying regardless of every other, or income change. You're required to reapply anyway.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
So the longest that you could go, so let's just say that you're 50, you have a spouse who was 65 who was eligible, that person passes away. The most benefit you're going to get without having to reapply yourself is 2 years.
Well, that would be something you should come in and reapply for because typically your income is going to change if one of the spouses passes away.
So technically, you're applying regardless of your spouse. Oh. No, so then never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's confusing. No, I'm confused with you.
So I'm not sure I understand the question.
So you
come in every 2 years.
Yeah.
If you go first year on the program, your spouse turns 65 and you're 50 and the spouse dies that year, you could come back in the next year if these changes are adopted.
Okay.
And then you'd qualify on your income alone the next year. Answer the question?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering how long it would have to be before the spouse has to come back to reapply.
Typically, the income's going down, so they would come back in next
Okay.
year. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. I did a little circle in my mind.
I know, me too. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. Thank you. It makes me feel better.
Sharon, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Mark McDermott speaking. Ross, 95-8, he said that the Board of Finance did not approve those changes.
Hey, Mark, Hey, Mark, it's a little garbled. Can you just speak? I don't know what's going on, but try again.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Much better. Yeah.
Ross, 95-8, you said the Board of Finance did not approve the language changes there. What was their logic there?
To the income?
Qualifying income, yes.
They like the language of adjusted gross income over qualifying income. And I think if I bring that back up, I'm going to bring a little more information. I'll bring the state statute with the language. And the Office of Policy Management publishes a handbook every year. And I'll bring that language, which is now all qualifying income is all income, taxable and non-taxable.
Okay. And They approved all the other changes.
I'm sorry?
They approved all the other changes.
Yes.
Okay. What tax year are we looking at to get these changes implemented? Is it for, it's obviously we're not going to make this year's application deadline.
These could be in effect.
Go ahead.
These could be in effect for this year because we're not changing the qualifying income. So, and these changes really don't affect what we're doing in practice.
Yeah, I understand that, but this would have to be, it's an ordinance that would have to be approved by the RTM, which would have to sit for, it would have to go to LNA, and then it would have to be 2 months on our calendar, which brings us, 2 meetings out, which is March, April.
Yeah, the only material change is to the surviving spouse. And we can keep track of that. That's not difficult. So if the change did go through, we could reach out to that surviving spouse and have them come in.
But you don't need this. You don't need this approved by the deadline of applications, do you?
No.
Okay, so we have the time to go through the proper RTM approval process.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a really good question. Nice having the former moderator on the committee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when I spoke, and this is not highlighted, and this is nothing, this is under 95.8, section 8. So the QTAP not exceeding 650, I had asked Craig, when was the last time that number got updated? Because
before my time.
Right. So I'm thinking for Fairfield County, we're talking about state levels. 650 is an old number.
We saw the numbers yesterday in affordable housing.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, 650 is not a state number. The state does not have an asset test.
Okay.
That's strictly our local program.
So our local number. How's that weigh out between? I mean, when's the last time 650 was tested? If that's the real number, should it be the real number?
It hasn't been. It was. Well, they looked to eliminate it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was 2019, if I remember correctly. And the concern by the finance director at the time was, we don't know how many people are not applying because of that. Mm-hmm. So if we lift that off, mm-hmm. we don't know what that's going to do to the number of applicants. So he had a concern, and because of that concern, that got scrapped, and it remained as is.
I'm just wondering how they pegged it and how long, when do they look at it, when do they raise it, when do they play with it, that sort of thing. So.
Yeah, and I will tell you that the way we verify this is by an affidavit. Mm-hmm. We do not scour their statements or, it's pretty much on the honor system. And that's before that, we didn't do anything, but once I was here, I implemented the affidavit. It's just really not much better way to do it. Yeah, to get bank statements from people and start scouring their assets, or do you own other houses? Or it's a difficult piece to verify.
Just for reference, it's Mark McDermott speaking again. We attempted to make changes back in 2019. We also, the committee that was formed in 2016, had suggested an increase to that number. I forget what it was, from 650 to, I want to say 682 or something like that. I can go back and look at the notes. That never made it out of LNA at the RTM level. I think this number goes back to at least 2012, maybe further back. We'd have to look. I'm just not in a position to be looking at all this information. I'm sitting at the airport, and I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, 2012 was a significant year, changes made that year.
Yeah. So 2012, and then we tried to increase it. I want to say it was 2016, 2015 to 17 committee. We had made some suggested changes to that particular asset level. It went nowhere. Then we tried to eliminate it in 2019, as Ross said, and again, that went nowhere. So that hasn't been touched in many years, 12 years plus probably.
Personally, I don't think I would want to hold anything up on that number, but certainly it's something we really should look at.
We can't hold these changes up on that number because there's far too much analysis that would have to go into
Right,
what happens
exactly.
if we move the goalpost.
Yes,
That's not on the table. The only
Right.
changes that are on, the whole document is not on the table. The only thing that's actually on the table are the highlights.
Yeah.
that sort of thing is what you should take up
Correct.
On another.
That-
as you're
yeah.
cycling into next year.
And that's all modeling.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, understood.
Yeah, these are some of the items, David, that we definitely should be looking at once we get into the meat of this ordinance and anything that we want to change, whether it's the deferral program, whether it's the asset level. But yeah, once this, we're going to hold this up for that because those are financial issues that the Board of Finance would be more heavily involved in than these changes that Ross is suggesting.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
I just have one more. So the language that you have in here highlighted on 9515B3, I guess, at the top. So you had just put in if using the 10-year U.S. Treasury note rate, it should be at the opening price for a given day. Is that just where does that reference come from? Is that just something that just you and okay?
Yeah, I added that language just to define the time.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I've been in other situations where you try to understand, a daily price, and what you usually would do is the opening, the midday, and the close, and you take the average of it, and that would be the number. And like if you're gifting, for instance, if you're gifting stock to a university or something like that, you would do that's the formula that you would use.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's transferable.
The work that I do in exec council is closing price.
Closing price, interesting. Yeah. So everybody has their thing.
And we're splitting hairs because
yeah. I just wanted it more of a talking thing than I think we should change it. I just more of a curiosity.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with opening. I'm fine with closing.
I'm fine with opening. The way it's written seems makes sense to me.
I just needed definitive definition.
Yeah, no, it's good to have it.
Yeah, right now it's
a point of reference.
The price on that day, and we'll when on that day.
Yeah. Again, just more talking about it than wanting to change it.
Okay, got it. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the changes as highlighted?
But they're as updated by the Board of Finance.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Because they're not as highlighted.
So let's,
Changes 1 through 4?
What's that?
Changes 1 through 4?
Yeah, changes 1 through 4. So why don't, so what we'll do is we'll just document for the public exactly what it is that we're voting on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I fell off there for a second. Did you just want to say as recommended by the Board of Finance?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what Chris had said too.
Yeah, sorry, I pressed the end button accidentally. I was trying to unmute myself.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Okay, great.
I'll second that.
I gave second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Great, item passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Is there any other business? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay, Dave, seconded by. Thanks. Okay, we're adjourning at 8:11.